Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Got a new Yu-Gi-Oh video for you guys today. So, if you guys were on my last Yu-Gi-Oh stream, I introduced the new pet project I'm working on. So, we've had a lot of success with our Fiendsmith Cyber Dragon deck. I'm really enjoying it. Like I said, when I talked about YCS, I'm not changing anything in the deck, just tweaking the side deck a little bit. I really like the way the deck came out. A friend of mine, one of my best friends, saw my success with Cyber Dragons and basically wanted my help making a new hero variant. He is a huge hero fan. He collects all of them, even if they're not used. He loves the heroes. So I wanted to take a look at heroes and see if I could find a good way to kind of bring them into the modern game, because heroes haven't done anything for a while. Heroes have problems. They have some problems. And as you can see from the build, this is not the Omni Hero deck. This is a Hero Fiendsmith variant. I know I'm like up the Fiendsmith engine's ass, but with this build in particular, it's really, really, really good. It's better in this than it is in my Cyber Dragon deck. So, guys, we're gonna talk about the deck. If you enjoy this kind of content, drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new to the channel for more content, and let's jump in and let's talk about the variant. So, this is the result of a lot of research and a lot of tweaking of combos. And on this video, I'm gonna show you guys the two main combos that this deck is built around, and then a quick game that I did so you guys could see what happens when this deck actually goes off. Now, don't get me wrong, there'll be more videos with more matchups, but this is just the baseline. This is where we're starting, tweaking from here. We'll see what happens. So, heroes have some problems. A couple problems, the biggest one being the hero lock. A lot of the current hero support, as soon as you start going into it, you are locked out of using anything else but heroes. And unfortunately, even the extra deck monsters, hero extra deck monsters, are kind of fragile. They're good, but they don't give you enough flexibility to respond to your opponent accordingly. And it causes the engine to be massive. Because of that, I'm going to organize this real quick. I just wanted to reorganize real quick because normally the hero engine is massive. And as you see here, it is 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 cards, which is still a massive engine. I think that's actually as big, if not bigger, than my Cyber Dragon engine. Regardless, this is us after condensing it down, like a lot. Between that engine, the Fiendsmith engine, and then the rest is all non-engine. We have cards like Nibiru, Ash, Droll. We have the Trinity to deal with hand traps, and perms. Like, we got a lot of non-engine. Which is good. It also helps with our choke points, because anybody that plays heroes knows Malicious while that card is fantastic because you get 3 free bodies or 2 free bodies, it is a massive choke point if your opponent negates the summon of the first one, because then you don't get to see the second one and you can't recycle. So it becomes a pain in the ass. So we want to avoid problems like that. And there's some other YouTubers that have been experimenting with builds like this. A big one that gave me a lot of inspiration was MBT. Because he's also a big fan of the hero engine. He made a whole list of the pros and cons of hero, and I took that to give me some inspiration. Now, Fiendsmith, I have a lot of experience with Fiendsmith now after what we did with Cyber Dragons. The cool thing is, because Adusted Gold is a light fiend, it not only enables the Fiendsmith engine enables Adusted Gold. With Engraver, Tracked, Evil Assault, and Adusted Gold, we have 12 one-card starters. Well, technically 2, because I don't like Evil Assault that much because you have to discard a card, but you're always going in your starting hand, you're always gonna have a card that you can discard, and that makes it so we have 12 starters. They're technically 2-card stars, but you get what I'm trying to say. So I'm gonna show you guys the main combos real quick, and you'll see why I enjoy this deck so much. All right, so we're gonna pretend this isn't tracked, just because the other card in your hand is irrelevant. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't a monster card, because you'll see how the combo goes and why we need to have a certain number of monsters in the grave. And I didn't want you guys to think that I'm only getting that number of monsters because I discard a monster like Nibiru. It naturally gets the number of monsters you need. So we start off with Adusted Gold. That gets us into Evil Assault. So now with Evil Assault, this is why you need to have 2 cards, because you need to have a card to discard for Evil Assault. It just doesn't matter what the card is. This is going to special Dead in Prison from the deck. Bang. Dead in Prison. is going to dump Shadow Mist. Another weakness of heroes is how many garnets they have. You know, Brilliant Fusion. A lot of cards you don't want to see in your hand. But thankfully, we have so many one-ofs that it's okay. I know Vion is a great normal summon, but we also want to be able to be flexible. Like, ideally, we want to be able to grab Vion out of the deck and normal summon it, but we don't want to have to waste our normal summon on just Vion. That's why I didn't max out on Vions. So we send Sinister Necron to the grave with Vion's effect, and now Sinister Necron banishes to summon Infernal Rider. Infernal Rider grabs us Dark Fusion. This is why we have so many one-ofs. Now we're going to use Vion's effect. Bang. Banish a Dusted Gold. Gets us Fusion Substitute. You can put Polymerization if you feel more comfortable with it, but you guys know I love Fusion Substitute. So now this part we could only do if we went with the Dusted Gold line. If we went with the Fiendsmith line, we cannot do this because Infernal Device's effect only works if you did not summon anything but heroes. This card is fantastic, but it's also very bad because of the hero lock. But since we haven't summoned anything but heroes, we can now do this, which is going to get us into Elemental Hero Neos. In order to really make our end board finish, we need Neos. We need some way to get into Neos. So now we have Neos. So now we're going to play Dark Fusion to summon Backfire by fusing Elemental Hero Neos with Dead in Prison. Bang. That's basically to get the Neos out of our hand. Now with Backfire, we're going to grab Dark Supremacy, which is an Omni Negate for a spell card based on the number of spell cards in your grave that mention Dark Fusion. Right now we have 2. Now we're going to activate Fusion Substitute to infuse Infernal Devicer and Backfire into Sunrise. Sunrise is going to grab us Miracle Fusion. Now we're going to activate Miracle Fusion for Infernal Rage. We're going to banish Shadow Mist and Neos because we can get them back with the trap that we're about to get. Now we get to add a favorite card. We get Favorite Contact. This is why we banish specifically those cards. Thankfully, Favorite Contact can fuse Field, Grave, and Banish, which is fire. Oh, and hand. This trap's nuts. Lastly, well, not lastly, but we're going to link into Wonder Driver, I'm sorry. Extra Hero Wonder Driver. The reason we're doing this is because when we special summon with Favorite Contact, we're going to put it into Wonder Driver's Link arrow, which is going to get us back Miracle Fusion. Now we have 2 more effects to go. We have Infernal Rider, which Infernal Rider is banish himself and 4 other monsters. We're technically going to get everything back, so it doesn't super matter. We just want to make sure we leave a fusion in the grave. So we'll get rid of Infernal Rage. That one we have to make sure is either in the grave or banish. Infernal Devicer, Backfire, and Dead in Prison, which sets us Super Polymerization, which is fire that we can just pull Super Polymerization out of the deck. And it makes it so we can Super Polymerization into fusions that need Dark Fusion, because normally we wouldn't be able to. And then lastly, we're going to Fusion Substitute, setting back Sunrise to draw an additional card. And then we will set Dark Supremacy and a Favorite Contact. So with the board we have now, mind you, we would still have 4 cards in hand. Sorry, because we do have to discard 1. We have Dark Supremacy, which is an Omni Negate, which currently we have 2 cards that mention Dark Fusion. Well, Dark Fusion and Equal Assault, so we can negate 2 cards on the board. Favorite Contact, which we would want to fuse Backfire and Neos into Shining Neos Wingman. And remember, we want to put that where Wonder Driver is to get back Miracle Fusion. And then on top of that, we have Super Poly, which we would then go into Neos Lord, which we would use our opponent's monster. And then once they send another monster to the graveyard, or if they have 2 monsters on the board, we could fuse 1 and then Neos would steal 1. So we have multiple interruptions that we could use here on top of what else would be in our hand. And the cool thing is, one of the big reasons I want to run Fusion Substitute is because it gives us the fodder for Super Polymerization without having to touch the other 3 cards in our hand. So that's our first main big combo. And then the cool thing about this combo is on our following turn, Evil Assault gets us back Dark Fusion, and Dark Supremacy can send back 5 heroes back to the deck. So we can then be able to recur and keep playing. All right. So the next combo is what you do when you open up both engines. So normally we could use Engraver to get tracked to get us into a Dusted Gold to go into the combo that we just did in the last part of the video. But this is when you open up both engines and what you want to do to get max value out of them. So it's another 2-card combo, but we have so many ways to get into the 2 cards, and in a lot of cases the second card doesn't really matter. So we're gonna go Fiendsmith, and we're gonna go into the whole Fiendsmith line. You guys know the Fiendsmith line, we've all seen it before. Tracked cards Larry, discard Larry special summons. Bang. Special summon Requiem. Bring out Lacrima. Lacrima dumps Paradise. So I guess the first combo is our basic combo, and I'd say this is like the full power combo. Now this is a cool interaction that you can do here, because now we're gonna go equip, and we're gonna contact fuse into Necroquip Princess. Now the downside to Evil Assault I mentioned at the beginning is that you have to discard a card. But now we dump a Dusted Gold, grab Evil Assault, and because of Necroquip Princess, we can actually draw a card to make sure Evil Assault is live without having to touch the rest of our hand. So bam, that's live. And now we can Engraver. And now your opponent has to respond with Nib here or risk you summoning a High King Caesar. Depending on what you have in your hand, you can go into High King Caesar, because High King Caesar is a fantastic card. Or if the rest of your hand is all non-engine or bricks, you can go into what the rest of the combo is, which is Sequence. And then with Sequence, you're going to summon Aerial Eater, sending back Requiem and Lacrima. Now Aerial Eater on summon dumps a Fiend. So now we're going to dump Sinister Necron. Now we could go right into our hero line. We don't want to yet. We're going to do one more thing. We're going to link into an SP Little Knight. SP Little Knight's another fantastic interruption. So now we go into Evil Assault, discard a card, and we go into our same line. We have to summon SP before the Evil Assault, because now the Evil Assault locks us into heroes. We're going to use Dead End Prison's effect to dump one, turning on his effect to be treated as any material. Shadow Mist grabs us Vion. Now since we already dumped Sinister Necron, we don't need to dump Sinister Necron with Vion, which means we can use Vion's dump to get us Elemental Hero Neos, since we can't use Infernal Devicer because we summoned non-heroes at the beginning of the combo. But now we have our entire setup, because now we're gonna go Sinister Necron, get Infernal Rider. Infernal Rider gets us Dark Fusion. Bang. And Vion grabs his Fusion Substitute, banishing a Dusted Gold. And now we do the same thing we did last time, just without the Infernal Devicer, because we're going to Dark Fusion, getting rid of these two. Backfire gets us into Supremacy. And then we activate Fusion Substitute, summoning Sunrise. Bang, bang. You do have to be a little careful here, obviously, because of SP Little Knight, because you can't, it makes it awkward to play Wonder Driver. I was talking about Wonder Driver giving you another form of recursion, because you could make Wonder Driver summon to the Wonder Driver spot. Obviously, we can't do that with SP Little Knight's arrows, but you're basically trading in the recursion for an extra interruption. And then we grab Favorite Contact, Infernal Rider's effect. You obviously want to do Infernal Rider first, because you want to get rid of the searches. Like, you're gonna draw a card, you don't want to draw into your search target, you know what I mean? So we're gonna get rid of U4. Boop, boop, boop. There's our Super Poly. And then lastly, our Fusion Substitute, sending back Backfire, drawing us into Lacrima, and then we set 3. And now, with what we have on board, we have our Omni Negate with Supremacy, we have Favorite Contact to go into Shining Neos Wingman, and we have Super Poly to go into Neos Lord. And we have, of course, our hand without touching the other 3 cards in our hand. And we have SP Little Knight. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 interruptions, because thanks to the Fiendsmith line, we also have Fiendsmith in Paradise in the grave. And I know this is chance because we drew into Lacrima, but next time we could think about it. Instead of sending Lacrima back to deck, we could have sent Engraver. We could have had Lacrima still in the grave. Lacrima could summon a monster on our opponent's turn. So these are the 2 main combos that this deck is built around. Guys, here's a game I was pretty proud of. If you could see our opponent's hand, they had like every hand trap in the world, and we drew, I think, one. So I'm going to explain what we were doing as we were going. I will admit that we made one misplay because I didn't realize something important, and it does neuter our end board, but we're still able to break their board and, you know, give them the good old 1-2. So looking at our hand, as you see, the only hand trap we have is Nibiru, which is still a great hand trap. And yeah, watch how we play through 4 hand traps and a Fiendsmith board. So he starts off with Tract, gets full combo. We all know Fiendsmith combo. I don't actually know what this opponent was playing because we don't see anything else. He just plays Fiendsmith with a shitload of hand traps. It's funny because like while I was recording this, well, while I was playing this, I kept on kind of playing with my toggle, so I turned it off so he wouldn't know I had Nibiru. But as soon as he tried to leave main phase, I Nibiru'd him. And then he uses Desiree to pop the Nibiru. So I was like, alright, fine. Nibiru did its job. So we start off with Engraver, they hit us with the Ash. I'm like, alright, bet. Start off with Talent so we could see the rest of their hand. We end up getting rid of the Effect Veiler because Fulos is not live while he has 2 cards on board. So I was like, alright, Fulos is dead, so let's keep going. We try to use Track to add Luri to hand. They hit us with Dominus Purge. So I'm like, alright, thankfully, we still have Evil Assault. And Evil Assault with any other card can get us into a full combo. So we get Prison dumps Shadow Mist gets us Vion, normal summon Vion effect to dump Sinister Necron to get Infernal Rider to get Dark Fusion. Now here's where I make the misplay. So if you guys remember my combo at the beginning of the video, I straight said that you would want to link here because we have not summoned anything but hero monsters. I thought I had summoned the Fiendsmith monsters, so it threw me off. What I should have done here was I should have linked into Infernal Divisor to grab Neos, and I could have done my usual combo, but no. So we end up playing Dark Fusion here. We still get an okay board. So Prison's effect, it sends a monster for cost, and for the rest of the turn, when you would make a fusion, it could be used to substitute fusion material. So we use it as a substitute for Neos to make Neos Lord, and we end up taking the Nibiru token. And now our opponent ends up following up with Fulos, and then we use Vion to banish Prison to add fusion substitute. And we just go to battle phase and swing. We didn't want to keep on summoning because now they can draw off a Fulos. And actually, with fusion substitute, I didn't have anything to summon. I had made some major misplays because the only targets I have left, I could have gone into, well, I would have needed 2 hero monsters with different attributes, and these are both darks, so I couldn't go into Sunrise. I would have needed 2 elemental heroes to make the new wingman, so I couldn't make that. So I had made a major misplay here. I could have went Infernal Divisor, got Neos, Dark Fusion with the Neos to make I'm still figuring out the names. You know what, let me just cheat. To make Backfire, which would have got us the trap card Dark Supremacy, and then I could have used Fusion Substitute to end up making Sunrise to get Overload Fusion to make Infernal Rage. So those were the misplays I made. We then set Super Poly, though we don't really have a target for Super Poly because again I misplayed. So that Super Poly is there, but it doesn't really help us. But they draw into Lacrima, and by itself Lacrima can't really do much. They're going to summon Lacrima, dump a monster, and then Neos is just going to steal Lacrima. So Neos in a simplified game state is just a great kind of floodgate. Alright guys, here's one more look at the deck. We talked about the major combos. You got to see that one quick gameplay, and I'm actually pretty happy with how consistent it is. It can work off of almost anything, and as great as the Fiendsmith engine is, we don't need it to be able to play, but it does help to bridge us into getting our hero stuff off if we have to choose one or the other. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments, guys. Let me know any techs you think I should try. If you guys want to check me out on social media, those links are down below. If you guys want to see me play some Yu-Gi-Oh live, I'm probably going to stream Yu-Gi-Oh again next week. That'll be Tuesday. Hold off on the time. I'll announce it either on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube, or even the Twitch. So keep an eye out for one of those. That's gonna be it for me, guys. Thank you for all your support. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later. In my eyes, I was born for this. I got demons on my side, you ain't high like this. I got reason to believe I don't need it from my gifts. Only I can change the world and it go like this.